Good evening, Facebook family and friends, and welcome to the Doris Hall James Indie Show. Indie focuses on legendary artists from the past who are still recording, producing, traveling, doing all kinds of things in the music industry. They're still very, very active. And our guest today is no other than the legendary Shirley Lights. And Shirley, I want to thank you. I'm honored for you to be here on the Indie Show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I've been following you lately, like for the past month or so, and I've been running after you because I wanted you to, be on the show. First of all, I've been doing the show for the past, 6 weeks or more, and you are my first female.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I feel special.
And you are
I'm going to represent the ladies. I'm going to represent the ladies.
You are very special. Now, I want to just thank you again for letting Facebook family and friends travel through your musical journey with you. Okay. Now, tell me a little bit about Shirley Lights. How did you get started? What motivated you to be a singer and a performer?
Well, I started out, I used to sing in church on the kiddie choir. Then when I went to school, I sang in the All City Girls Choir. But then coming up in the ranks, I had a brother that sang, and his name was George Lights. He passed away, and his voice was golden. His voice was a cross between Eddie Kendricks and Philip Bailey. And I used to go to all his shows. I wasn't even old enough to get in the club, but I would sneak in and go just to see him. I wanted to see my brother. So one day he said to me, "You can sing," because you see me. I said, "No, that's I was nervous. I had stage fright. I'm not going to sing." So I went to see him in this particular club, and he brought me on the stage. I broke out into an instant sweat. I was scared to death. My heart was palpitating. And he was like, "This is going to be your night." I said, "Why did you do this? Why did you bring me up here?" He said, "Because you can sing, and you're going to sing."
That's great.
So I forgot the song that I sang. It might have been, he did a duet by, I think it was Shirley. "I want to be by your side, baby." That song. And I said, "You catch this on the mind." And I was so scared I almost forgot the words. He wished I could. "It's going to take," and I said, "It's going to take some time." So he was pushing me. I don't even know what was happening. At the end, everybody was clapping.
Oh, great.
And he would say, "That's my little sister, Shirley Lights."
All right.
And I liked it, but I was scared. Because I had stage fright. I had never done it before. This is what he was doing. And he just brought me up cold here. I'm thinking I'm just going to support my big brother.
He believed in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he believed
Well, I guess he used to hear me sing around the house. And he just said, "You can do this." And for about 6 months after that, he would bring me up on every show.
Oh, that was great.
And then one day we started a group together. It was called Turning Point. That was our first group. It was with some neighborhood guys. And I was only female, of course. They were all older than me. So they would tell me to go out the room sometime. I don't know what they were doing, talking about girls or whatever they were doing. They would say, "Sure, go upstairs for a minute." And rehearse. And we rehearsed over my aunt's house on Malcolm Street. Ferdell Payton, but since she has passed away, but we rehearsed there every night. She loved the band being there. So we would go there every night, and my mother and father didn't care because I was over my aunt's house, and we would just rehearse all day. We would go there and just rehearse for hours. Going there at 3:00 in the afternoon, come home sometime 1:00 in the morning.
Oh, that was
We would order food, just eating, have fun, talk, argue, whatever, and then just start rehearsing. And it all started from there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's where it started.
And so then after you started working with your brother, your brother passed away.
Yeah, he
and
passed
then
away in 2014.
2014. But during that time, did you step out on your own?
Oh, well, I stepped out on my own, yeah, because he got out of the business for a while. And I just kept going, and I never looked back.
You caught the bug bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I caught the bug bad. After I got over the stage fright, I was gone. I was going to college. I would hitchhike home to come back home and do gigs. And one time I saw a neighbor, and she said, "How's Shirley?" And I was like, "Oh my God, she's gonna tell my mother she saw me up at 69th Street trying to hitchhike back to school." So I said, "Hi." So when I called home that day, my mother said, "Were you up 69th Street?" And I said, 69th Street? You know, I'm trying to play it off. She said, "Yeah, 69th Street." I said, "When?"
Oh, sure.
She was like, "Somebody said they saw you this way." I said, "It wasn't me, Mom. Couldn't have been me. I was at school." So I got caught, but I still kept on doing it.
Yeah.
So my mother said, "Well, why didn't you come?" I said, "I did the gig, Mom, and then I went back to school." And she said, "Well, why did you do?" I said, "Because I wanted to sing."
Music is your passion.
It was my passion.
It's your passion.
I was the first of the children to go to college too. My mother always supported me. My father always thought that being an entertainer, you're going to wind up on drugs.
That's what my father thought. That's just what my father
he didn't want me to do it. My mother came to every one of my shows. I mean, as long as she could, she supported me. And she would say, "She can sing, George." That was my father's name. And I'm named after my mother, Shirley.
Okay.
And she said, "She can sing." So he was saying, "I don't want that life for her."
No.
So my mother said, "Well, she'll be strong. She knows what to do and what not to do." But he was not for it. And I was going through my changes, you know. I don't know if you remember Betty Davis. If I'm in love. So me, I come out in my room one day, with hot pants on. Now it's summertime. I mean, burning up. I had on hot pants and rust boots all the way up to here. I'll never forget. And the shirt was tied at the top, and a gold earring here, a feather earring here, and bangles, and a big bag. And I came downstairs. My father was like, "Shirley,
where are you going?
Come talk to your daughter." So she came out the kitchen. And she was like, "Where are you going?" I said, "Mom, I'm going to a gig." So she was like, "Well, why are you dressed like that?" I said, "Because, you know, like, this is my style."
Oh, you had to develop a style.
Yeah, she was
like, "Oh, you
she said,
into it, right?"
Yeah, she was like, I said, "This is my style. I like this, Mom." She was like, so my father said, "Do you know it's 90 degrees out?" I said, "Yeah, Dad, but I'm good." So he was like, "You're going to have to talk to her." And I said, "Well," so my mother said, "Be back by a certain time," and I did. So I went and I did the gig, and I thought I was cool with my hot pants on and boots up the hair, big giant bush, sweat bullets. But I was cool. So, you know, it was.
Yeah, we you know, when, like, my dad, he didn't want me to do it either. And my mom was supportive, but he wasn't, because he felt like your dad. And he's end up on drugs or like all kinds of things. She's not going to finish school. But
so I'll tell you how he finally, I'll tell you how he finally, I'm having my cool down. I just want everybody to know I just came from the gym.
Yeah,
Zumba
lady.
class.
This is a Zumba lady.
Yeah, I like to do that. Right. That's my voice is. So he had a friend of his that had a club, and they had live entertainment. As a matter of fact, it was called Mr. Silk's Third Base.
Yes, okay.
And he knew Gus Lace. They went to school together.
Yes.
So he said,
Hobson
so he was like, "Well, you want to, your daughter wants to do a gig in here." My father said, "Yeah, give her a gig. I want to see what she can do." I wasn't even old enough to be in bars. But, you know, they'd be going in bar, and I had to go sit in the corner. So that was my first gig. So my father, he came to it because he's the one that set it up. And he listened to me sing. And he was like, at the end, he was like, "You can sing." He said, "You love that?" I said, "Yeah, Dad, I love it." So he was like, "I still don't know." He said, "You know, that music business is just, it's rough." Because I was going to school, I wanted to be into medicine. So my dream when I was coming up was to work in the lab to find cures for diseases, to be able to tell the doctors when they got diagnosis how to treat their patients. And I really liked medicine. I used to dissect things and But I love the music better.
Oh, yeah. And once you get in it, you can't get up. Just a second. Let me say hi to David Lee and James Jameson and Ruben. Hi, Ruben. Hi, Pat, Denise, Alan. How you doing? Thomas Clark and Kevin Moore. Hi, Harry. Thank you for Francis Harrison. Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live with Shirley Lights.
Hello.
Okay.
How are you, everyone out there?
Now, Shirley, when did you start recording?
Well, I'll tell you a story. I have to let you know a story. I have to go back a little bit.
Okay, all right.
I grew up on 61st Street in West Philadelphia.
Right around here?
Yes.
Oh,
First, we lived at 60th and Walnut.
Yeah.
Then we moved to 61st because the family grew.
Mm.
There was a meat market around the corner on Market Street called Red Arrow. It was right next to a popular club called the Sportsman.
On 60th and Market?
On Market Street between
Oh.
60th and 61st.
You used to go there. You're still there.
60th.
No, it's not there anymore.
What do you-
60th.
No, the Sportsman's not there anymore.
I know where that meat
Wait a
market
minute.
was.
When you get to the corner of 60th and Market, you turn left. And
It's
not
on the
there.
right
No,
side.
You know, I'm thinking about Edmonds.
No, it was across the street from
Across the
it.
street.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Sportsman's Lounge. It was
Chekhov used to be there.
Mhm.
well, it was a place where all the stars came.
Mm-hmm.
They had big bright lights, and my mother would always send me to go get ground beef. So I had to get the beef cubes and get it ground
Okay.
for the hamburger. She just wouldn't get regular hamburger. So she sent me to the store. I think I was around 7 or 8. And she always just sent me to the store because I would always get it right. I don't know why. I just could remember. She would give me a list and I could just remember. I said, I don't need to listen. I used to even come home and go to the store on my lunch break and bring home groceries.
Oh.
Yeah, and then eat my lunch and then run back to school. So she sent me this one particular day, and as I was approaching the store, a limo pulled up, and out stepped this man dressed to the nines. And I looked, and he tapped me on the head and said, "How you doing, little girl?" And I looked up on the marquee, and it said Billy Paul.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
That's
so I
great.
was like, "Oh my God,
That's great.
he's a star."
Yeah.
Because I'm saying to myself, you can imagine, I'm 7 years old. I see all the lights going around the sign, and he gets out the limo, and he was sharp. He was dressed sharp. So I said, "Oh." So I went and I got my order. I ran home. I said, "Mom, I met a star." She was like, "A star?" I said, "Yeah, I went to the meat market, and this man got out. And he tapped me on the head and said, 'How you doing, little girl?' And I said, 'Oh my goodness.'" So from that day on, I kept going back around there
Oh.
to see if he was going to be there. And then one day, I think about a month or a month and a half later, I saw his name on the marquee
Mm-hmm.
coming for Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I said to myself, I'm going around there.
Mm-hmm.
So it was summertime, so I went around there and I waited. And I waited on the meter. I was just hanging on the meter, just waiting. And up pulled the limo,
Oh, Billy Paul.
and it was him again.
Mm-hmm.
And he got out. He's like, "Hey, little girl, you again?" And I said, "Oh my God, this star knows me." He was like, "What's your name?" I said, "Shirley." He was like, "How you doing, Shirley?" I said, "I'm fine." He was like, "Does your mother know you're out here?" And I said, "I was waiting for you." He said, "Okay, well, you go home because it's getting ready to get dark." And I ran home. I went home. I said, "Mom, the star knows me." She was like, "Why he knows?" I said, "Because he got out of the car and he said, 'How you doing, little girl? What you doing here again?'"
Mhm.
So that means he knows me.
Mhm.
And she said, "Well, what did he say to you?" I told him my name was Shirley, and he told me to go home. She said, "Stay from around there." So, but I would always
A
look
good
for
story.
him. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, ironically, I think I was around 19. I got a call, and it was from Philly International, and they were looking for a female vocalist that could do some high notes in the studio. So that was my range, you know. So I said, "Oh yeah, I'll come down there." So I told my mom, "Somebody from Philly International called me, and they want me to go down there." She said, "Okay, be careful." I went down there. I go in the studio, and it was Billy Paul.
No.
Now my heart was pounding. I didn't want to tell him
No.
about that story then.
Yeah, you didn't. Okay.
I just went in. I did the session. They paid me well, and I went home. I was on cloud nine, like, oh my God, that's the same man when I was a little girl, and let me on the meter and say little girl. So, you know, as time went on, he would call me, and I would do other sessions. I still never told him. And then as I started doing my pursuing my own thing, you know, he just did his thing and I did mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then in '83, I hit the first record that came out, Heat You Up, Not You Down.
That's right.
Yeah, on West End Records. And he had called me and said, Shirley, I'm getting ready to go on the road. Do you want to go? And I said, no, I can't because I have to go and promote this record. So, you know, time passed again. And then I had another one on Atlantic, New York slipped away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped for a while. But I got a little disillusioned with the music business because I was like, I'm doing all this and I can't get where I want to go. And I got married and I still never stopped though. But I didn't pursue it with the same type of fervor as before. And then I said one time, I'm stopping. But then I would go to shows and I would see people sing. And I was like, oh, wow. So my husband said, you want to sing again? No, that's what you have to do. So I just started singing again. And then in '97, someone called me, a friend of mine. And he said, Billy Paul is looking for some female vocals to go into Brazil. And I said, really? So I went to the audition. He was like, Shirley Lights. I said, Billy Paul.
Isn't that something? That
So
is such a great story.
Yeah, he said, you don't even have to audition. He said, you're taking the top note. And I went with him to Brazil, and I was with him up to the time he passed in 2014. And I think in around 2006, I think, I became his band leader. And I would do all the scheduling, rehearsals, audition pictures.
Surely that was meant to be.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It was like destined from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't even know that story. They didn't know the closeness or the connection that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So they just thought that he was being, showing favoritism for me. But we had a long history.
Isn't that great?
A very long history. So that's why when I did Unsung last week, Blanche, his wife, had contacted me and said, Shirley, who better else to go on TV and talk about Billy? I said, what do you want me to say, Blanche? She said, tell your experience. She said, go back to the meter pole.
Great.
And I did. And I did.
That was just meant to be.
And when he passed away in 2014, I was devastated. Because he was like a mentor. He was like a play father. And he had his way. He didn't like to talk on the phone at all. So every now and then he'd call me on the phone. He said, how you doing, Shirley? He had that voice of his. I'm like, I'm okay, Billy. I said, how you doing? He said, I'm okay. Kiss my mouth for me. Bye. And that was our conversation.
Okay.
All of like 42 seconds. Lance said, Shirley, you're special because he does not talk to people on the phone. So I always felt special and always had that, connection in that bond with him. And every time I went on tour, he always told people that I was a singer and always tried to help me. As a matter of fact, I went back to Brazil on my own because he introduced me to people. And I went there and toured on my own with my own band, my own situation. And they got to know me as Shirley Lights, not just Shirley Lights, the background vocalist for Billy Paul. So it was a very, very good experience.
That was great, and like I said, it was a great story, and we all thank Billy Paul. Because if it wasn't for him, maybe you would have never continued or got into your music. So that was destiny. That was something that
I think it was destiny. I know it had a lot to do with my career.
It was meant to be.
Yeah. From that time he tapped me on my head, little girl.
Little girl. And then the second time,
the second time, I just knew I was in.
Great.
You couldn't tell me nothing. I knew a star.
So now, what are you doing now? I turned on. I was reading something in the paper. I said, Shirley's here too. It was Malcolm X Park.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I do a series that is sponsored by Janie Blackwell every year.
Okay.
And they hired me one year about 7 years ago. I've been doing it ever since. It's from 7 to 9 on Thursday. They have a music program. And they hire me every year. They hire a lot of different people. I'm one of the people that keep running back, so I'm glad about that. Mm-hmm. And just this past Sunday, the Pennsylvania Health Care, they had a festival. And that was Tamika McFadden.
Right.
Yeah, she's the CEO. Mm-hmm. It was a very, very nice affair. Also, sponsored by Janie Blackwell. They had Deanna Williams. She was the host. Mm-hmm. And I opened the festival at 1 o'clock. And the headliners were Keith Washington and Denise Williams.
Yeah, it was Denise Williams.
Yeah.
Denise Williams and Keith Washington. And I think it was Denise Williams who went out into the audience. And she was mingling, I think she was mingling with the crowd. And they tried to get her to come back. And she said, no, I love my audience. And she was signing autographs and all that. Yeah. And I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, she's a very nice person. She's a very good spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because people were, I got pictures of Keith Washington and her. I just waited on the side because I had my VIP pass. Everybody was waiting, and I said, I'm not going to do it that way. So wait over here. And then when he finished, I went to him and I said, can we take a picture? And he said, sure. And we took a picture. So I decided to do the same thing with Denise Williams. So when it was on the end, everybody was getting pissed. So I don't know if it was her bodyguard or manager or assistant, wherever he was. He said that this person, no more pictures. Mm-hmm. And so it was a person ahead of me. So I said to myself, look, I've stood here. I'm getting a picture with Denise Williams. I don't care what he says. I'm getting this picture. So I just, went in one ear and out the other. Mm-hmm. So she was coming toward me. So he said, well, I've been standing here for a while. I'm quite sure she can take one more picture. So he said, okay, after you, it's over. So she came in. So I said, hi, Denise, how are you? She was like, hi. I said, you sounded excellent. I said, I really enjoyed the show. I said, Blanche would have loved it. Mm-hmm. I tried to put my little calling card in there. She said, Blanche? Yeah. You know Blanche? I said, yeah, I'm sure. She said, oh my God. She always talked about you because me and Billy, we'd always go over to England. They would go over there and do tracks. They would do this thing with David Guest every year. And she was on the show too. So we were talking like old friends. She said, tell Blanche, I've been calling her from an 818 number because I want to see if she wants to do a road trip. Okay. Everybody was looking like, what are they talking about? And I said, okay, I'll make sure I tell her. So when she was walking away, she said, don't forget to tell Blanche I'm calling from an 818 number and to pick up the phone. I said, okay, Denise. And then when I figured, like, you know Denise Williams? I said,
no, right?
I said, just a little. Just a little. I want to I don't like using calling cards or whatever. Mm-hmm. I like to meet people and just meet them on my own without, a lot of people, they name drop. But I needed that time to get that picture. Mm-hmm. So
that sounds fun.
Yeah.
So you did get your
but I wasn't pushy, and she was so nice. Now, if she had been a different attitude, I wouldn't have felt her spirit like that. I would have just, let it go.
They said she was really nice.
Sweet
she
person.
was out in the audience. And, she was just saying, I love my audience.
Oh, yes. Yeah, she was very nice.
Well,
and she sounded good.
She still sounds good?
She sounded great.
How about Keith Washington? How was his performance?
Oh, he sounded great.
He's good too?
Yeah, the women were pulling on
I know they were.
I had all kinds of things
on
Facebook.
Is he still handsome?
Yeah, he's fine.
He's still handsome.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Okay. I was playing with myself. Well, he's just my height. He started laughing. He said, Shirley, you're so fresh. I said, I'm not being fresh. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You say you're just my height. That's all.
Well, now, you have a new CD out. Well, it's coming out. Tell us a little bit.
It came out. Well, I had one that came out last year. I worked with Steve and Maestro Mason from WDAS. Okay. And I did a house version of Deja Vu by Tina Marie. As a matter of fact, he saw me singing at Malcolm X Park. And he saw me singing that song. And he said, why don't we do a house version of that? But then I was taking care of my mother. She had dementia. And my schedule was very, very hectic. As a matter of fact, I came home off the road in 2002. I was in Hong Kong to take care of my father because he was diagnosed with cancer of the larynx. And his greatest fear was to be put in a nursing home. So I took him to the hospital, and the doctor said he had 6 months to live. This was in June. So I didn't believe it. I took him to another doctor. I took him to 4 doctors. They all said the same prognosis. And he did pass away 6 months later on Christmas Eve, sitting in his favorite chair watching Wheel of Fortune. I was supposed to go do a gig. I called the couple of band members, and I said, I won't be coming to the gig today. And they were saying, why? I said, because my father's dying. I won't be here for his hand. I said, look, I have to go. Because I took care of him. And I took his vitals, and I could see him, he had a trach, he had a feeding tube. And he was becoming non-responsive. So I took his pulse, and then I had to call it. And that particular day, I had just signed him up for hospice, but it was going to be in-home hospice. So I told the nurse what his vitals were. She said, I'll be right over. And he passed away around 7:40. And that was in 2003, on Christmas Eve. That was one of the hardest days because everything was closed. I had to try to find somebody to come get the body. It was hard. His twin brother was in town. He came over, and all family members, everybody was crying. And I was just numb. So, but the hardest part when I had to tell my mother the next day, because she was in her beginning stages of dementia, I think that's what really took her over the edge too, because she woke up that Christmas morning, and she said to me, she said, Shirley, where's my husband? And I said, who, Dad? I always get stuck, because I didn't know what to say. So she was like, yeah, my husband. I said, but he was sick, right? She was like, yeah. I said, he was really sick. She said, yeah, I know that. Where is he? I said, he passed away last night. And she just broke down. And she was never, ever the same. I think it took her disease into because they were childhood lovers. When he died, they had been together almost 60 years.
Wow.
That was her first boyfriend. He went away in the army, came back, and they eloped. And that was her everything. So then in 2003, he passed away. Then her size just continued she just continued to regress. So I just knew at that point that I had to make a decision.
I understand.
And I couldn't go out like I used to. I just go out with Billy. But by that time, Billy was slowing down too because he was getting old. Because there would be times we would go out for 3 or 4 months at a time. My parents were younger then. So, but then he started going out like 2 weeks. So that was good for me because my brother lived with me, the one that passed away. And he knew how to take care of my mother just like I did. He would give her bath, give her medication. And then, so from 2003 until she passed in 2016, I took care of her. He passed away in 2014. So after he passed away, I didn't have the help that I needed. So I had to go to PCA and get help. And I was a nervous wreck because I had people that are coming in. I would make sure they take. She couldn't tell what was going on with her. So I would screen people through. I knew they thought I was a drill sergeant because I wasn't playing that. You're not going to do anything with my mom. That's why I kept her home as opposed to being in a nursing home. So I say that to say it was a journey. And I met Steve Mason. Let me get back to that. And then during that time, my mother passed. And he called me. I said, my mother passed. He said, oh, wow, sure, take all the time you need. And during the course of that time, I had met Johnny Walker, the president and CEO of NAFTA, and that's the National Association of Black Female Executives in Music and Entertainment. And she was the vice president of Def Jam. And she helped Russell Simmons' brand. She took them to a whole different level. And she has a great story too, Johnny Walker. And then she went from Def Jam to DreamWorks. And she saw me singing. And she stopped. She was talking to somebody. She was like, don't go anywhere. So I didn't know who she was at the time. So, we talked. She told me about her organization. She said, I think you would be good to represent Philadelphia because we don't have an operations manager right now. So I said, okay. And I went home and I looked up in the room. I said, wow, that was her. Yeah, that was her.
Yeah.
So we had a conversation. I said, how do you know you want me? She said, I can just feel, I can just tell her. I think you're the one for it. And then my mother passed away. So I went through my grieving process. I'm still going through it, but at that particular time it was right at the height of it. So I told her, I said, yeah, my mother, she said, oh my God, take all the time you need. So I think January, she passed November 11th. Matter of fact, she had the seizure on my birthday, October 11th. And I went to the hospital and I stayed with her every day. And I brought her home to put her in hospice because they said there was nothing else they could do. And I guess from her having the seizure, it just shut her brain down. So she was no longer responsive. But I wanted to still be there to see what was going on with her. So I spent every night in that hospital. I think with the exception of two, because I was so rest broken that my sister came and spent the night and said, you need to go home and sleep in the bed. And I did. But then I brought her home and she lasted around maybe like a week and a half. I was up all night and I would get up and I would sleep downstairs and I would get up and look at her. There's one particular morning, November 11th, I got up and looked at her and I was looking at, they told me about signs to watch out for. They said the tip of her fingers might start turning blue. And I had an oxygen machine. I said, oh my God, I think she's passing. And I pulled down the cover and the tips of her fingers were blue. I said, oh my God, this is it. So I just sat there with her and I said, Mom, you're going to be all right. I said, if you're holding on for me, don't hold on for me. I love you and I'm going to be all right. You're going to be all right. And I'll see you again. You're going to go with Daddy and go with Buddy. That's my brother said, you're going to be all right. And she just breathed until she couldn't breathe anymore.
Yeah, I understand.
Oh, so I just, so I just stood there and I just watched. I was numb. The nurse came, I let her in. I said, she's going. She said, yeah, you're right, she's going. And after that, I got sick because I guess I was so used to my routine was dealing with her. Getting up, if I get home from a gig at 2 o'clock in the morning, I was still up at 7.
A lot of times the caretaker gets messed up.
Yeah.
Because I refused to let her lay around in urine. I would get up. I would get her out the bed, and because if she couldn't get out the bed on her own. That's why I stayed in the gym. I had to stay strong to get her out that bed. And it was just something like that was part of my journey. So after she passed, it took me a time. I went to the hospital. They told me my pressure was 200 and something over 180. They said I was totally stressed out. So when I got in the hospital, they kept me overnight, and it went back down. And they said, yeah, this is just stress. You need to relax. But what happened? I told them about, my mother, the caretaker. And they said, well, you know what? The mind is a powerful thing. You've been so used to dealing with your mother. Finally, when you woke up that day and you had anything to do, I guess the stress and everything just hit me. As long as I was gone, it was like my brain was like a computer. Just go boom, 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 boom. And then when I stopped, I guess it just short-circuited, But I got better. It went back down, went to the doctor. He was like, why are you so stressed? I told him. He was, oh my God, you have a reason to be stressed. But God made me strong.
He always does.
My mother and father always instilled in me to be strong, never give up. And the only thing that's going to stop you is you. So I went through my process, and I remember in January, Steve Mason sent me a text. He said, take all the time you need. It's time to get to work. And I thought about it. I said, he's right. Yeah. And I reached out to him, and we went in the studio. I reached out to Johnny Walker,
Mhm.
and she was saying, "Hi, Shirley, how are you?" I said, "I'm doing well." I said, "She said, well, I know you're not doing well, but I said as well as can be expected." And I said, "Would you still like to be the network leader for Land from Fulfill?" She said, "Of course. I was
All
waiting
right.
for you."
All right.
So,
That was destiny.
oh yeah, that was destiny.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she didn't know me from a can of paint. I didn't know her. And now we are having our first summit here
Okay.
at the International House.
Mm-hmm. We have to get all the information. You get to,
Oh yeah,
you know.
September 27th to the 30th.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have a Sheroes event on one of those evenings.
Mhm.
We're going to honor Deanna Williams,
Oh, okay.
Sarah Dash from the Bell,
Oh, yeah, from the bell. Yeah.
Lady B,
Mhm.
and Vivian Scott Chu. She was a pioneer and she helped bring reggae. As a matter of fact, she's married to Ray Chu, who is the music director for the Apollo.
Okay.
And we have some really good things. We have a bike ride that's going to kick the summit off. It's going to be September 22nd. And that bike/walk ride, the proceeds are going to go to the Bashi because it's to help bring more awareness to HIV and AIDS in the Black community.
And that's great.
Yeah, research says that although statistically Black women are affected by HIV, I think it's 60%,
Mhm.
25 Latino, and the rest I think 15 whites. And a lot of that is being swept underneath the rug because of the onset of the opioid epidemic.
Mhm.
So people are forgetting about HIV and how it's ravaging the Black community, especially Black females.
And that's going to be covered on the 27th. It's what that one of the subjects that's going to be covered.
The 22nd, we're having a bike ride.
The 27th.
The 22nd,
Okay.
the week before.
Before.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's to start the summer.
Okay.
And it's on the internet, and
Okay.
we have the Philadelphia Bicycle Coalition.
Oh, I need to get out there and ride.
Yeah, ride or walk. It's a
Yeah.
5K walk.
I love to do both. So.
Yeah. Well, come on out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Shirley, time is passing by, and I want to talk a little bit
Okay.
about the CD.
Let's get back to this.
Now, this CD here, is this your latest?
No, that is my one that I did with Steve Mason. And we're getting a lot of airplay on that.
Okay.
And in the meantime, he introduced me to a friend of his, Lenny Fontana.
Okay.
And Lenny Fontana has a lot of success with overseas music.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, he had D-Train and
Oh, Detroit.
a few other people I can't think of right now. I have so much going on in my head.
Now, this can we purchase this? Can this still be purchased?
Yeah, it's on iTunes.
iTunes?
Yeah, I just have a few physical copies. As a matter of fact, you can have that.
Okay. But you have a new one that's going to be released.
It was released July 13th.
It was released. What's the name of that?
Fire.
Fire?
Yeah.
Okay. And that is now on iTunes also?
It's on all digital downloads.
Mm-hmm.
Spotify, Track Source.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, on the 13th, that's supposed to be a bad luck day, Friday the 13th.
Mhm.
And it entered Track Source charts on, I think it was 102.
Okay.
And Saturday, Friday it was 102. Saturday, it was 22.
Wow.
Sunday, it was 12.
Huh?
Monday, it was 7.
Okay. So we have to pick that
Tuesday,
CD up.
yeah, so now it's 7. So I don't know what it is now. I don't know what it is.
Okay, so let's make sure that our Facebook family hears the name of that CD again. What is it?
Fire.
Fire.
Shirley Lice and Lenny Fontana.
Okay, and it can be
Purchase
purchase on
on all
iTunes.
digital downloads.
Okay.
Spotify.
Mhm.
Go to Spotify.
Okay.
Track Source, iTunes, CD Baby.
Okay.
Spotify, the one we're aiming for right now.
Okay, Facebook, we got to support Shirley. We have to go and purchase that CD.
And I wrote it.
You
Kenny
wrote some
Jackson,
songs on it?
myself, and Lenny Fontana.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
We wish you a lot of success with that CD.
Thank you.
And we're all going to do our best to purchase it
Thank you.
and support you in your endeavor.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and then tell us about your performances. I only have a couple minutes, so where will you be performing in the next couple weeks? You're everywhere. I
Yeah,
turn
no,
on.
I just had
You're
to.
everywhere.
I'm doing a show Sunday.
Okay.
It's so ironic how this happened. All my stories are like,
Yeah, but
like
they're
from
good
the
stories.
movies. It's crazy. There's a home health agency called Total Healthcare. It was around the corner. A black female came to my house during the time that my mother was sick. Her name was Destiny Smallwood. And it's still there now. And I was looking for someone. My mother had just got approved from PCA to have some aides to come to the house. And she came and she interviewed my mother. She did an assessment. And she said, I'm just starting my business and I'm right around the corner and here's a list. But I liked her conversation, so I went with her agency. Last year, I get a call. Destiny passed away.
We knew it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought you was talking about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about her. Yeah.
16th of March.
Yeah.
Yes. Only in her 40s.
Yeah.
Colorectal cancer.
Yeah.
It ran in
We
her
knew
family.
her. Yeah.
So I didn't know. A gentleman called me a couple of weeks ago. His name is Jerry Carr. You know, he grew up in the neighborhood with me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Yeah, Shirley, I have a place around the corner. He said, I'm part of Total Healthcare. I have Divinity Hall, and we're giving a memorial, a fundraiser for my wife because I'm going to have a colorectal walk in April 2019. And he said, I would like you to sing." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, how do you know Total Healthcare?" He said, "Well, my wife passed away, Destiny's mom." I said, "That was your wife?"
Yeah, we found out that she passed away.
So I'm doing that
Okay.
this Sunday from 11 to 3. It's a brunch.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that. I see a lot of things going on. My main focus is that right now, because that's close to my heart. Because she was so nice to my mother and the services that they provided for her. And when he told me about it, I was honored.
Okay. Yeah.
I said, I can't even charge what I would charge anybody else. I said, this is going to be a family price. Please do not tell anybody what I'm doing it for. So he was like, okay. But if you're in the neighborhood, please. 11 to 3 is going to be a brunch. It's going to be hosted by, the food is going to be catered by Miss Tootsie.
Oh, okay. Go.
Yeah.
Get. I'm trying to tell him something. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. But Miss Tootsie, right?
Sometimes,
Yes,
you know?
Miss Tootsie is going to cater it. And we're going to have entertainment. We're going to have gospel
And that's this Sunday
this Sunday
from 11 to 3.
at Divinity Hall.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I am so glad that I got a chance to meet you, and I'm honored. And such good, true stories. You know, we have a little gift for you tonight. Okay?
A gift?
Yes.
Presents.
Yes. You are my, like I said, my first female interviewee.
Oh, wow.
And then we wanted to say congratulations, Gilbert and I, on your new CD.
Oh, that's why you were getting the signal?
Yes, I'm trying. You know, men, they just can't get it together, right?
Thank you so
But
much.
I want to say thank you for everything.
Look, everybody,
Okay.
I had
Okay.
flowers.
All right.
They gave me my flowers while I'm in living. I can still smell them.
Yes. And Facebook family and friends, once again, we want to thank you. Let me say before we cut off, I see a David and James Jameson and all you guys out here on Facebook that stuck with us through this interview. I want to say thank you very much for your support. And we have a star in front of us, Shirley Light, and we want to go on and we want to purchase Fire, her new CD. And thank you very much for joining us. And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you soon.
Thank you.
And this show was produced by our producer, forgetful, Gilbert Lomax Jr. Thank you, Gilbert. And thank you guys.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Everybody, we out. Okay, wait, shut it down.
We're finished?